What's up, everyone? All right, I'm testing multiple releases, but I'm also testing this live feature. Gone live on Instagram a lot, never gone live here on YouTube. So I figured I'm messing around today and I'm gonna test this out and see what it's like, and then I'll know for in the future. So I guess it says, yeah, there we go. On advanced settings, I could have turned it horizontally like you would normally do YouTube videos. But that's not what I did, so I don't know. I guess we'll roll with it like this. Just got it on a forward-facing camera right now. It's gonna be backwards. It'll probably look like I'm shooting left-handed, but there we go. Yeah, guys, I've got multiple different releases now that I'm testing out, trying and seeing what we're gonna do, and just kind of having some fun today, just for the heck of it. But I've got the Carter Evolution, so let you see that. 3-finger, this is a resistance release. It needs pressure to fire it. And then I've got the Carter Just Because. It's a new release that I picked up. Somewhat matches with this Evolution. Evolution has a little bit wider finger beds here, very similar to Just Cuz, or Just Because rather. So I grabbed that, kind of matches up, and then I have my old trusty original Just Cuz. Yeah, Jack. I honestly, so I shot this a lot. I really like the Just Cuz. So, and I still have it. This is the OG thumb button. And then I've got this one. This is a new one for me too. It's the Nock On 2 Smooth. This Nock On 2 Smooth really mimics the Just Cuz. The shape of that handle on the Just Cuz and the Nock On 2 Smooth is very similar. The third finger nub on the 2 Smooth is definitely higher up than what you would have in the finger bed for the Just Cuz, but it's there, right? Yeah, so I may have it really hot compared to what some people shoot it as, because I'm shooting it as a 2-finger release, which I shoot all my releases essentially the same. Even if I have a 3-finger release or a 4-finger or whatever I was doing with it, majority of my pressure is on this index finger. These outer fingers just help rotate the release. Even if it's a thumb release, and honestly, even on this Evo, it's the same thing. I'm letting off on this index and letting it rotate in my hand and kind of doing a small expansion, and it does a lot, so we'll see. Yeah, it is, Jack. The 2 Smooth is the total control. Essentially, it's the exact same release, and they just changed this little nub there so it matches up with the Nock to it. So yeah, I did an early rendering a long time ago when John Dudley first announced that he was coming out with the hinge release, and I grabbed the total control and did some Photoshop on it and named it the 2 Smooth and posted it on my Instagram. And I mean, it's essentially the same thing, but that's what Carter had to roll with. I knew they wouldn't use the 2 Moons platform. Just didn't really flow with the other releases that Nock On already had. So, but yeah, guys, I'm gonna shoot a few and then I'll take you out there. I'm just gonna shoot some with all these releases. Good shots, bad shots, I'll talk you through them, kind of let you know what I felt. And if y'all have questions, if you want me to do anything specific, throw them up here in the comments and let me know. I'm just kind of here to hang out with y'all and test this all out with the YouTube live and just have some fun today. I would definitely say it's crazy. So I've got definitely less than 30 shots. I probably have 25-ish shots on this 2 Smooth, and it's easily my, like, if you're gonna make me go shoot something right now, whether it's a tournament or closest to center shot or whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna grab this. And I think that has a lot to do with it's a hinge, and I'm just super comfortable with the hinge release. I shot a hinge release primarily for years and years, so definitely feel most comfortable with those. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. I've got different camera angles that I can roll for y'all. Move things around some. So I'll open this door next to me here and I'll put you over by my hand so y'all can see the releases better, see what I'm doing. I don't know if it'll really come through on video. I don't know what this video is even gonna look like. So I guess we'll see. But I know a lot of people want to have just footage of me shooting, so I figure I can come on here live and shoot and then post it on the channel. So there we go. That last shot hit high right. Let's see here. Caught the 10, but it hit high right. And I definitely felt that. The way that I have things set up right now, if I get a little too much heel under the bow, I push and kick it. So yeah, Jack, I appreciate it. Thanks, man. Have a good one. But I've got, the way that I'm shooting my shot right now, essentially, and I talked about this, I think, in the members video this week, but I started a couple weeks ago just pushing with the bow arm from the elbow out and just driving it out, not really doing anything with the release hand, because if I start pulling with the release hand, sometimes I'll hang, I'll have some problems. And now I've kind of migrated to mostly my arm being locked out and just having a tension essentially against that, to where I'm pushing into the target, real firm bow arm, real aggressive there, and then just allowing that index finger to relax, rotate these releases around. So that's what I'm doing with those. Definitely still messing with timing on this Too Smooth. That one went off really early. So it's just something that I'm kind of playing around with. But y'all let me know. I don't know what this video even looks like. Is this good quality video footage? Is it kind of blurry like it is on Instagram? Like, I don't know how all that works on here and what it's gonna look like. Curious how far this is gonna go. On my Instagram, this only goes back, I mean, I can't even get as far out as I am away from it. So it's kind of cool that I can on this. It's a good platform to have. So flip this around, you can see the target. See if it lets me zoom in. Oh, it does. So first shot, top shot, I always just do top, left, bottom. That was a good shot. And then that left one was the one that I was talked to you about, was high left. I pushed it, and then the one on the right, it just went off really early, so I wasn't even set in. So it is what it is. Thanks, Travis, I appreciate that. Yeah, I honestly, I enjoy YouTube a lot, so it's nice to be back on here and doing all this more. It's nice to have my life set up to where I can be on here doing this more now, I guess. Makes a difference for sure. It's cool that it reaches out further than Instagram. Instagram will cut me off on these live videos when I get out to that target where it's set up right now, but I've had so much rain, I can't really set it up in a different spot where I do have signal better. I can get you like this. You should be able to see me, see the release better. Yeah, see the release that way. What releases do y'all shoot? The ones that are watching me live, comment below. Do you shoot hinge release, thumb release, index, resistance release? Like, what are you shooting right now and why? And then I can focus in on that with what I'm doing. I've got everything but an index release out here, but I can kind of go through at least what I'm doing with an index release, if that's what a lot of y'all are using. think one thing I like better about Instagram, and that's probably just because Instagram, you are logged in and you have a name and everything on their username, so I can see who's watching the video. I can't do that on here. If I can, I don't know how, but I do like that I can do that on Instagram. Travis said that he shoots a hinge and he is shooting the fulcrum flex for the last several years and really liking it. And I would totally agree with you on that. I've shot a fulcrum flex for several years and love that release. Seems to fit my hand really well. Seems to, the angle of the finger bed and everything on there, the middle finger is pretty high on it and allows you to really just relax through it, which makes sense because Jesse Broadwater, the way that he shoots his shots, he relaxes through them a lot. So for you to have a release set up for him, makes sense that it would be like that. Russell said that it's thumb button for him. He loves the Just Cuz and the True Ball Chappie. That's cool, man. I like that. Sometimes these old releases are just better. You know, honestly, one of the better ones that I've shot recently is one of the old school, the hooker releases. And I don't know if people watching this even know what those are, but they're, I mean, it's essentially a hinge. It's built very much like this, where you have this little spike here at the top, but there's no rotation, there's no moon, it's just locked in place, and you can adjust the angle of it, of that hook and everything, but you just put it on your D-loop and then rotate the release through however you're doing that, and it fires it. I will say that just from a shooting standpoint, because there's not a pivot point from the head to the release, it does feel very comfortable when you're shooting it. It actually, it doesn't elongate on that head to open up, so it feels very comfortable with the pressures and everything that you're doing with it. It's kind of cool that way. All right, I'm gonna use the Just Cuz on this one. I've been playing around with that Too Smooth, shooting it like this, like what you were seeing in the video just now, kind of dangling this third finger on that little nub there, and then just like this, where I take the third finger completely out of it. The reason that I've left that finger on there with that nub is just trying to simulate the way that I feel with my thumb releases, but I may shoot it better without that on there. So like with my fulcrum flex, I wasn't putting a finger on there at all. The 2-finger attachment that I have for it, you just run, it's smooth, so you just run it off the side. So curious how I'll end up with it on there, and what I'll do, but I was trying to keep just the total extension of my hand. So if I just have all fingers on there, my hand is here, and if I drop this one off, then my hand wants to come back a little bit more. So we'll see what I end up doing. Yeah, Russell, it is, man, but it's really cool. And actually, there's a guy selling them right now. He bought some old stock from the original maker of those releases, and he's selling them. And you can still get them. There's 2-finger versions of them, 3 and 4. There's non-brass, and there's brass versions too. I almost dropped Joe. All right. This Just Cuz is old, and it doesn't have the adjustment feature here. Like on these new Carter releases, they have a screw there and you can adjust the tension really easy. And this one's old school, it has springs in it. So I don't know how many people saw it today, but Knock on Archery had a post about the original 2-finger thumb releases that he was shooting, and they're, I guess, re-releasing them as a 20-year anniversary thing, I think is what it said. Maybe it wasn't 20 year, maybe it was just what he was doing, but I may be misquoting that. It was him and Jerry Carter redoing them, and essentially to me it looks like a Just Cuz with no finger here, but it also has no nub, which is kind of cool. This one, however, is pretty stiff on the spring compared to what my Just Because is, so it's a little harder, but I'm gonna shoot this one for fun as a 2-finger and drop this off like it would be on that new one coming out. And be honest, I really like that. I've been messing around with that, and I think that could be a lot of fun to shoot that way. It seems like, for me anyways, if I can get the 3rd finger off a release, I just shoot better. I don't know why, I just always have. It's probably just easier for my brain. I'm only thinking about one thing. I shoot an index finger release really well too, because I'm only thinking about the trigger on the index finger and just squeezing down on it. So for the same reason I shoot those well, I think I use 2-finger releases well too, so helps a lot. So where y'all are at, or anybody doing tournament archery, 3D archery, or just hunting bows, like what are we doing with that? I've got a new bow myself coming. Sounds like it's gonna be in next week. So I'll be announcing that here on the channel, and that'll be kind of cool. I'll have a little video for it, and then of course some reviews and everything with it as well, obviously. But I'm gonna use that for a lot of setup content, setting it up fresh. So it'll be cool to talk through all that and see what I'm doing with it, how it's working, getting all that info and everything out too. All right, let's see. I'm gonna grab this, shoot with it for fun this time. Let's tell you what, one of my favorite releases, and I hate that I sold it, was one of the original silverbacks. Really liked that release. Then I sold it, so I didn't use it a whole lot. Wasn't shooting archery a whole lot at that time, just got rid of it. Wished I kept it. Probably gonna end up buying another one day, or trying to pick one up from somebody one day. Still don't use them a ton, but they're a lot of fun to use, and they're a good training tool for sure. PSC Citation 36 for 3D Russell. Yeah, I like that bow. It's a very cool bow. There's one of the shop shooters that we have at Alvarado Archery that has been using one of those for a while, and they really like it too. But it's a really cool looking bow. Shooting the way that I am right now is really simple. It's you're just like, you're locking your rear arm in place like it's in concrete, and you're just pushing out with the bow arm. Seems to work really well. Took a couple weeks off from YouTube, but I got a video out this week, and with that Too Smooth release, and just talking about the 2 moon hinges. It was interesting. There was comment on there about the Ultra View Hinge 2, because I talked about that in the video, and they were talking about how the 2 moons on it kept moving and it's having some issues with it. So I don't know, I've never had one of those to know what's going on with it, but it's a bummer, you know, if they are having issues like that with some of them. Dan, thank you. Appreciate you watching. Alabama, man, that's not too far from me. It's a couple states over. I know several people that have been out that way. You're a good location for 3D shoots and stuff out there. I do. Russell asked, do I relax the release hand during the shot process? It looks that way to him. I do. Extremely similar, if not the exact same, to what John Dudley talks about with the two smooth videos where I'm on there with the index and then I just start relaxing that index. That's all I'm doing. So I'm not relaxing the whole hand and letting it stretch. I'm holding 90-something% of the tension on my release finger is what it feels like. It's not like that, you know, obviously, and then I just relax it out so that this release is naturally rotating itself to the balance point and firing. On a thumb release, same way. I just get on there. I don't have as much tension on the index with that. I balance it out a little bit more with the middle finger to begin with, and then I just relax this index finger and it allows it to move and press that trigger. So for me, that seems to be the best way right now for me to be shooting with some push on the bow arm. I've shot differently in the past where I have just pulled rotated fingers, curled fingers like Joel Turner talks about, stuff like that. And for me, they work really well short term. And then after a while, it just seems like that I get jumpy. And if I'm relaxing my release hand or the index finger, I mean, you know, or whatever, even if I'm just relaxing the release hand, but especially when I'm relaxing that index finger, I can just get on target, hold on there, and just tell myself relax really slowly, and just shoot. So I'll do it out loud, what I'm saying, and let you see, but it just helps me kind of stay in the moment with my shot and just roll through it. So from here, I just say relax until the shot goes off. Hopefully you can hear that. I got kind of quiet on it, but seriously, that's all I do. And it's in my head, you know, obviously when I'm shooting it, but that's what it is. And I think that two-finger hinges and two-finger releases in general, that's why I like them. I also think that having a lighter trigger on a thumb release helps, and having a hotter setting hinge release helps. Okay. Russell, South Carolina for you, long way away. Yeah, you're literally halfway across the country from me here in Texas, but y'all are in Alabama and South Carolina. Y'all are in some good spots for 3D archery, if you're into all that. Seems a little closer for y'all to get to most everything. We had one in Texas, and it's not on the list anymore. Tell you what, pretty pumped to get this new bow coming in. And it's gonna ruffle some feathers probably. It may not, I don't know. I expect that there will be people that are really excited about it, and then people that may not be excited about it. We'll see. Yeah, Russell, ASA country for sure, man. I do shoot this just because really well. That top spot was when I was talking to y'all, and it's still a low X, and then the other two are just in there. So, I don't know. That's been my go-to for a little while, was this just because, and I don't know if it's because I can adjust the thumb tension, the trigger tension, and I just have it lighter. That just because I have the original spring in it that I've had in it for forever, and I think I can change it. I think there's a lighter spring, but honestly, I don't know anymore. Stressley asks, what's your favorite discipline to shoot? 50 meter, 3D, field, or indoor? That has changed a lot for me over time. I used to like 50 meter the best. That was what I shot the majority of. Then it became indoor. And this last year, it's been indoor for me for a long time. And this last year, I did not like indoor. But I think that's more because I took 4 years off from competing and I didn't really shoot a ton through that entire time. In fact, I have shot more arrows since August of 23 till now than I did the last 4 years prior to that total, very easily. I might have doubled the amount of arrows that I shot. So going from next to nothing and then throwing myself into indoor shooting was a pain. I developed some bad habits, some target panic, some mental things that were going on. So did not like that. In the past I have, and it's because it's just a pure way to shoot. That and 50 meter both when it wasn't windy. It's just you and the target, one distance, you're just shooting. It's what I use. Like I use these Vegas faces to test my releases, bows, setups, anything that I'm doing. Because if I can shoot well on those, I'll shoot well on anything. But honestly right now, here at home, hanging out, my indoor 20-yard stuff is still my favorite. But as far as just shooting, 3D is really fun. That's probably what I'm most into right now. If I'm gonna do something for fun or hang out with people, you know, or whatever. It's less stress and it's a low volume of arrows, which is still good for me while I'm building back up. So I really enjoy that. I've never shot field. I've got a buddy of mine loves field. That's all he'll do. But I haven't really ever messed around with it. So that may change. He may be getting me out there to shoot some this year. And if he does, then I may come back and say that's my favorite. Definitely has potential. I like distance, and I like the technical side of it with the angles, different targets, stuff like that. It's just a ton of arrows, which I don't care for. That's what's held me back from it before. Also, any disciplines of archery that are during the summer months are a little hard for me because I'm a real estate agent and I'm busy in the summer especially on the weekends. It's also one of the reasons why I like indoor a lot. I'm not as busy. Yeah, I think I would like the Just Cuz better if I didn't have such a strong trigger on it. Because that shot was really good, but it hit left. And I think it's left 10, but yeah, it's left side edge of the 10 ring. But I'm just having to push a little harder, shot's taking a little longer, a little bit more engaged with that trigger. So it's just how it is right now. Oh, that was interesting. Russell, are you judging distance? Or are you talking about that with 3D? You said field archery is the bomb, but love the distance judging. I know you can also do that with different forms of field too. I don't know a ton about that, but I know you can. The last shot was interesting. The wind's blowing in from this open door that I have. And we just had a norther come in today, so when it is blowing, it's blowing pretty hard. My eye was drying out, and it was pushing my bow. Interesting to shoot that way when I'm doing indoor. There we go. Honestly, I'm doing a lot better grouping-wise. The less amount of movement that I can get in my index and in my hand, the better. The more push that I just put into the bow and let it kind of pull against that middle finger and build the pressure against it, it's rotating the release. It shoots a lot better for me. So that's working out much, much better. think I'm gonna do another round with the Too Smooth, shoot it, and I'm gonna start with it with all 3 fingers on it like I was doing, and I think I'll drop that 1 finger off and just see how it shoots. Also changed my stance up recently. I opened up a little bit more and brought my feet together more. Seems to be giving me more balance. I know some people like their feet real far apart and that helps them more. For whatever reason with me, if they're closer together, it feels better. I think it's a balance thing, left and right foot. I don't have as much weight on my front foot now. I think what I'm gonna end up having to do is slow the Too Smooth down. I think it's too fast. I can't really get into the back wall and steady my shot up. That push that I'm doing is to steady up what I'm seeing. I'm really not pushing to execute, I'm pushing to stop as much of the float as possible. I can't quite get where I want to with it yet. Yeah, because I'm having to put a lot of pressure on that index finger to get it to work that way. And I can see everything open back up float-wise when I come off of that to execute. All right, Russell's asking, yeah, says recommendation, if shooting uphill or downhill, etc., how does that affect your back tension or accuracy? I have trouble with that in field. It does make sense. He said, hopes it makes sense. It does. So hopefully this reaches out here and it's just fine while I'm talking. I'll pull arrows. So whenever you're shooting uphill or downhill, if you're not bending at the waist enough, and I don't know, some people, everybody's field courses are different. You may have some really extreme up and downhill stuff where you can't just bend at the waist all the way. But what I try to recommend as much as possible, only bend at the waist. And that keeps the distance between your hands the same. If we're here, and then, well, let me do this. If we're here, and then I need to shoot uphill and I do this, then my hand is getting closer together. And I'll lean some, but you can see the hand gets closer back here. So this hand then has to come back more. You feel like you're floating. And then downhill, if you do that, your hands start going away from each other. So then you have to come forward more. So it's essentially changing your body's draw length. And when you do that, it's changing how your shot feels, it's changing your float, it changes how seated or unseated the shoulder is, you know, if you're having to like really stretch it out or really pull it up, stuff like that. So pre-lean, however you need to do that, to where you think you need to, and you can put your bow hand just above the target, if that's what you normally do. Like for me, I just put it just above the center point of the target, somewhere on that target, and I draw, get into anchor, settle in, and then everything gets into the middle. You can do that when you first start out. That seems best for me. That's what's always worked best for me when I'm shooting up and down hills, is to that little pre-lean and then draw, because it seems to keep my body the same. Hopefully that'll help. But I would try that out. Oh man, I can't remember who it was. I think it was, I think it's on the UltraView YouTube channel. Maybe. But it's George Riles running around at Reading with the UltraView guys. And he talks about that in the video. That's one of the things that he talks about, his tips on it. based off what a lot of the European guys do for field, which if you've ever watched YouTube videos of the old field stuff where they used to shoot, like there was one where they're standing like on a building and shooting up and down and doing different things. They're extremely steep. So check that video out. You could probably just put in George Riles Redding and it'll pop up, but it's all those guys. I can't remember if it's the Ultraview channel or Griv's channel or combination of something, but yeah, check that out. Because there's something that they've talked about. I've heard two camps on this. I think what I heard one day was somebody talking about it where you don't want to draw level and then bend. I think that's what they were saying causes some problems with how you're hitting on the target and stuff. Yeah, George Riles Griv. I don't remember if I said George Riles or Griv or whatever. It was George Riles. One thing I'm gonna say, especially with the hinge, but it's really with all releases, but especially with the hinge, for y'all to keep an eye on. I'm guilty of this and it just happened. That's why I'm thinking about it is, if I let my hand stretch out and get too flat, you know, or overdo it or something, you don't really have any room to move through the release anymore. So make sure that you get good J-hook grip on there. I try to, in my brain, think these middle knuckles, I want them forward a little bit on the release because I have a tendency to let my hands come out too far. And if I do that with my hand and they're even on here, the way my hand is shaped and it's built, it creates a valley. So I can't do that. I actually have to get kind of in there a little bit more. So that's a quick tip that I have because I just screwed up and thought about that. It's cool. These YouTube videos like this, to do this while I'm shooting is probably a good idea, even if I'm just filming them to put them on the YouTube channel in a normal video format, because I think of so many things while I'm shooting, because honestly, rebuilding my shot, going through all this like I have been, I'm screwing up way more than I'm doing right. So it's helpful for me to, you know, be on here doing stuff like this and be able to talk through it. For sure. I'm gonna shoot a few more here and call it quits. We're around 40 minutes on the video, so probably keep it below 45 that way. But if anybody's got some questions right now, throw them out there, let me know. I'm gonna alternate, shoot the just cuz on my first shot, then the just because on my second shot, and then probably the just cuz again on that third shot. Or, you know what? Shoot one of all. I'll shoot just cuz, just because, and then too smooth. Do that. Russell, let's see, Russell said good and, oh, nope, it went away. I'll check back again. All right, this first one, just cuz here. I'll shoot this one. All right. It's funny when I'm shooting, like today I'm not holding real steady. I haven't all day, even before I started the video. So I'm seeing more movement on my sight picture, but if I'm just trying to block that out, not think about it, and just let my shot happen and time itself, I seem to be doing okay with results. But my hold today, if y'all could see it through my eyes and what I'm seeing through the scope, man, it's not as good, that's for sure. I was with that Just Because, brand new one. It's kind of cool, these new releases that Carter are putting out right now have the black anodizing on the cocking lever, thumb lever. The thumb barrel itself is black. I wrap these in grip tape, so they're all the same, but it's kind of nice looking compared to the silver, which the silver's fine, but I personally like the black. That was a bad shot. It's on me. I was fighting the release some. I was relaxing on the index while I was pushing, but instead of just letting the release roll through my hand while I was doing that and create this motion, I was letting back up on this outer fingers too. So I was just really relaxing my whole hand and it wasn't letting it roll. So that was on me. Just a bad shot. Let's see, Steve Morgan. I've been working with the hinge release and I struggle with pulling through the release too soon. I don't know if you covered this, but what do you do to prevent this? Steven, do you mean that you're getting to full draw, getting to anchor, getting on target, and then you're just pulling really fast, or you start pulling before you're really settled in? Which one do you mean there? And then I'll try to answer that the best that I can. Russell said that's a smooth release. Mine is, but I did have to send back to Carter for heavier spring. Yeah, a lot of people did that. Hopefully that all came through. I saw where it popped around on the service, so I guess my Wi-Fi decided to drop when I got too far out here. See if that came back. I'm gonna pull these arrows. I'm gonna let this reconnect and I'll be right back. All right. How's that, guys? Hopefully it's back. Yeah, so I know I've heard of people doing that. So the one that I have, the Just Cuz that I have, has the IT System spring kit. I can't remember if I bought that separately or if it came with the release. But I have that too. That way I can just pull them out and change them. So I may change that spring in there and make it lighter. So it's interesting, the way that I set up the Just Cuz, or the Just Because when I got it in, I actually put these on a scale and pulled it back on the scale with the trigger and let it fire it. And I set them up the same to begin with. But the Just Because with this sloped third finger and the way that my fingers and hand shape is, I don't have a whole lot of leverage over it at all. It's essentially a 2-finger release. I just don't drop my fingers, off of it, but it's just kind of hanging there. I don't put a lot of pressure. So I needed a lot less trigger tension on it to make it even feel the same as the Just Because, or the Just Cuz rather, because it's got that flatter handle. So I have more leverage over it here. So I guess that's something to think of. Depending on the release, you may have more or less leverage over it, and that adjust and change it too. Steve Morgan, yes, I have pulled almost like target pants, so it's just really fast. So my recommendation for you is stop pulling. Think of something different in your release. Maybe just relaxing on the index finger. So pull all your weight back, thumb and index when you get to anchor, and then just relax on it. Try that. And doing it really, really slow. As slow as you can. I mean, right now you're not worrying about scores. If you have to, eliminate the target and just try to do that and feel it. The release is gonna fire that way, so you don't have to worry about it. because it's got to rotate. It's not just pulling, so you don't have the anticipation of just having to pull through, or maybe it'll fire, maybe it won't, pressures and stuff like that. So try that. The main thing with that is just try to realize what you need to do. You know, like, is my trigger for the target panic, or this pulling really fast, is it because I'm seeing my pin on the target and I feel like I have to pull really fast to have the shot fire while it's still there? Is it when you start your execution, you're just rushing, or you have anxiety that it won't fire at all, so you're hoping it will and you're doing that really fast? You know, like, what is it from there? And then once you can find that trigger, or multiple triggers potentially, then you can really start breaking that down and seeing what you can do with it. I don't know that you necessarily need to, but I have a target panic instructional video that I put together. It does go over finding those triggers, and then essentially the way that I made it and what I go over on that is based off of a Stanford University study and how they address this situation. So target panic is the same neurologically, like, so if you're looking at just the symptoms of it, the reactions of it, the way that it works in your brain, it's the same as OCD, so obsessive compulsive disorder. It's a trigger and a response to the trigger. And if you don't do whatever the response is to the trigger, you feel like something bad's gonna happen. That reinforces to continue to do that response to the trigger, and the bad steps just keep happening. Once you realize what those triggers, or the one trigger, or whatever you have is, then they have a multi-step program where it breaks it down into 2 sections of how to beat that. And I used the same program, and I just built it around archery and just, you know, did it step by step that way. But it goes over all that in the video. That's something you want, you know, email me, let me know, and we can go over that and talk about it more, whatever, if you have questions. So go from there with it. Yeah, Russell said his triggers are set at 3 pounds. Honestly, I don't know what mine is set at anymore. My just cuz is 5, and I feel like that's a little heavy. My just because might be around that 3. I actually, I'll try it before we get off the video and just see what it is. It's not super precise because I don't have a trigger scale. I'm literally using my Last Chance Archery drawboard scale. So there's a little variance there, but I'll try it and just see. K. Scott, how did you do at Indoor State in Texas? I didn't shoot it, actually. I stopped shooting indoor part of the way through it because I was developing some bad habits. So indoor season for me was just kind of a wash and kind of a, you know, pardon my language, is a shit show. The very first round of the year, I got there and had been fighting off and on some sickness and some inner ear stuff over time, and I thought it was okay. But I got there that first day, and we were about halfway through the round, and I was on my 4th out of 5 arrows on a 5 spot, and my left ear completely shut out any kind of noise at all. And I went from standing still aiming at this target to feeling like I was falling into the guy next to me or behind me. I let down, stood there for a minute, tried to get my balance back, get everything somewhat in there, drew back, did that again, drew back the 3rd time, finally got the arrow off on the 4th arrow, still had a 5th arrow to shoot, was really dizzy, not feeling good, and I ended up not shooting it. I think I was really close on time, and I drew back once on it, and I was going from, literally, it was so bad dizzy-wise, I was going from my target to this person's target to the next to me, and that person's target to the other side of me, and I was that far off, and I just let down because I was like, I don't know where I'm going to hit, probably not safe. I did shoot that tournament. I finished that one out. I pulled arrows. We did scoring. We did all that at that one. Messed with my ear a lot. Finally got it to pop and open up a little bit, and ended up, I don't remember how many clicks I put in my sight, but I moved my sight to the right, I believe, like several clicks to get it back in the middle from what I was seeing. So that was a rough target, or a rough tournament. I dropped 2 full points. That one from the letdown, I never made it back up. I just let it go at the end because I dropped another point during that round. I had one hit low out of the 5. Low right, I think. And yeah, so I dealt with that for a while, didn't shoot for a few events. whatever. I had another event that I tried to shoot at, happened again, and just didn't even finish that one. I was just kind of mad and angry about it. And then after that, I just didn't do well. I think a combination of having that in my brain that had happened and not shooting how I normally would shoot, and knowing that was bothering me a lot too. So I never shot state finals. I was there Friday, so I don't know if you were there Friday or not. I was there Friday during warm-up practice ends because I actually forgot it started on Friday, and a buddy of mine just wanted to shoot together, so I went over there and shot with him. But yeah, I never shot it. So indoor season was a wash for me, unfortunately. But yeah, so hopefully next season will go better. I'll probably shoot some 3Ds, stuff like that this summer as I'm able to, but yeah, not a fun time. You shot, Case said, yeah, I shot a 53x300 and a 55x300. I'm a youth. Man, that's awesome. That's really good scores. Are you youth 10 yard or youth 20 yard? And what kind of bow are you using, dude? That's awesome. Congratulations. .20 yard is what you're shooting, Title 36. Very nice, man. 20 yard, that's a really good score. It's crazy the ability from these youth shooters and just younger shooters in general. Between that and watching the Vegas finals go 15 or whatever ends with nobody missing, pretty much solidified the fact that I just need to retire and not worry about that anymore. So I will shoot for fun. Definitely am not going to be shooting to win anything, especially after taking some years off and now having to rebuild my shot entirely. Raphael, will you shoot outdoor 50 meter this season? I won't. There's not any of it close to me. I would have to travel and be pretty far off in different areas. I think the closest one to me would be in College Station, which isn't bad. It's probably about a 3-hour drive, 3.5, 2.5, I don't know, something like that. But I won't. It's just, I can't get enough time during the summer to leave and go do that for a weekend. Got to make money. Got to be an adult, unfortunately. That's my busy time of the year, so I got to take advantage of that when I can. Especially, and I don't expect any of y'all to, but they've nationally changed some. They're in the process of changing some things for realtors that is going to really screw the market up across the country for a few years. So if you are somewhere in the world wanting to buy or sell your house, do it before July. Because all this stuff in July is going to take place. And I mean, if it goes through like they say it's going to go through, depending on where you're at, it'll hit you harder than others, but it's genuinely going to screw up the market pretty bad. So we'll see. Case said, kind of disappointed I shot a 60X in practice, but nerves got to me at state, kind of. Been there, man, know what you mean. Grabbing a 60X in practice is pretty cool though. That's awesome shooting. But yeah, it's hard to shoot. I mean, when I was competing a lot, I always told myself whatever round that I was at was a practice for the next one. And that's kind of how I calmed myself down more and just made it better. But it also was just preparation. I track my averages and my scores a lot, and I don't expect to go to a tournament and shoot any better than I am at home. Whatever I've got my averages are here at home, definitely I'm not going to get better magically at a tournament. That's not who I am. So, I just focus on that, and I have correct expectations, I guess, for myself going into it. And you know, just know what's going to happen. To me, that calms me down. The preparation calms me down, and knowing that it's just a practice for the next one. State this year is practice for state next year. You'll have a lot of them ahead of you, so you know, no stress that way. That was probably the best shot that I've had all day. Felt really good. That was with the too smooth. I'm gonna shoot the just cuz. See if I can replicate that shot. Kind of. Not quite as good, but I think that's, again, that trigger being really set heavy. I have to work through that release kind of hard. It's almost like a resistance release, which is great for training. But I would want it lighter for scoring. Yeah, I would want it lighter for scoring for sure. All right, just because, shoot one with this. I'll probably wrap it up. Yeah, that one felt good. That felt just like the too smooth. Very easy shot. Just kind of happened. Case, where are you at in Texas? What's local to you? Are you up in the DFW area by any chance? It's something I'll see you around at times and shoot with you, or are you just kind of in different parts of the world from us? All right, I'll finish this out here. Last shot was, or the top shot here was a too smooth, a little high left, probably an X, hard to tell. And then that was the just cuz, it was a left X, had to push a little more, and the just because was a right X. Didn't have to push with that one. All right, I think this is gonna reconnect again. I don't know if I lost y'all or not, but I did, sorry. Rafael said, I will be going to qualification shoots this summer in Spain to hopefully qualify for the national team so that I can go to the European Youth Championship. I hope you do. Good luck on that. That's gonna be really awesome. That's the cool stuff about the 50-meter thing that I really like is there is some opportunities to see the world and shoot in different places and do some really fun stuff with it. It's pretty cool, but hopefully y'all have a little better program than the US. Kind of disappointed the US doesn't have a super good program for 50-meter shooters, or really any USA shooters, especially compared to the rest of the world. So there's some places in the world that really treat their shooters a lot better for sure. But all right, guys, I'm at an hour. I'm gonna hop off here. Super appreciate everybody joining in and talking and making this a thing. That was a lot of fun. So I'll post this up, I assume. It'll let me. Again, never done this before. We'll see how it works as a test round. And yeah, guys, appreciate it again. I'll see y'all soon. I'll have some videos coming out in the next few weeks like normal. And hopefully I get the new bow in next week. And then in the following weeks after, I'll start being able to do different setup videos and segment them down into different portions of what I'm doing on that. But yeah, guys, I'll see y'all soon.